All right. Apparently, this is like a recap, supposedly, judging from those Fontaine. It literally says it over there in the description. If you guys see that, Fontaine recap. Uh, so yeah, we basically already finished it, right? So I guess now we're just gonna kind of watch it. I actually have no idea how they're gonna do this video, to be honest. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started. Warriorverse. Cute. I still love Chlorine's story, her character story with the D&D. That's still one of my favorites. I don't care what you guys say. That stuff was good. I'll tell you who's mid
So,
though.
you want to learn
The one
more
that looks
about
like March.
Fontaine? Well, allow me to give you the grand tour. Oh, I bet I'll get a lead on a new story by the time we're done, too. The news seems to follow you around wherever you go. They say Fontaine stands above all waters. That's why the water level here is higher than anywhere
Aren't they gonna be in for a surprise? Stands above all waters, huh?
else around. And if you're wondering whether that makes these waters lakes or seas, you're not alone. It's actually a hotly debated question. If you
I
enjoy
honestly have that actually is a funny thing because I get into a debate about lakes and oceans and everything with my GF as well. So thank you, Fontaine. Thank you very much.
expansive scenic views, I highly recommend taking a trip on the Aqua Bus. You can just sit back and enjoy the sights while you're mellowing.
Okay, let's be honest. These aqua bus thing, besides the story, does anyone actually use this? Like, how much of the player base do you think actually uses the aqua bus besides needing it for like a quest? Because I've only ever used it for that and nothing else.
Tour guide tells you all about Fontainian culture and customs. Definitely
Push the
the most
Melazine
relaxing
into
way
the
to travel.
sea.
The best place to start your sightseeing trip is the Court of Fontaine.
They're taller than me.
It's the most
Therefore,
important
they shall
city
go
in
into the
nation,
sea.
At the center of all of Fontaine's affairs. The city is arranged in concentric circles around the waterway hub, which sits right in the middle. Of course, the most important building in the Court of Fontaine is the Office of the Steambird. Just kidding.
Nuh-uh.
It's actually the Palais Mermonia, the highest authority in Fontaine and the highest point in the city. All the important government bodies have their headquarters there. From
We honestly spent so much time in this room. Like, I think we spent more time in this room than I've actually ever wanted, to be honest. Like, I was like, oh, I have to come back here again. I can't be the only one, right?
the office of Judex Nervalet to the Maison Gestion, the Maison Gardiennage, and the Marechaussee Phantom. It's a busy place, but it runs like clockwork. Down on the streets below is where the city really comes to life. The Court of Fontaine is renowned for its journalism, art, fashion, and fine dining, so it's extremely popular with the tourists.
This is one of my favorite characters. I leveled her up to max. I love her.
Below street level, down in the sewers, you'll find the city's
I am
administrative
the
gray
art of
area,
fashion or
known
something.
as the Fleuve Cendre. Every light casts a shadow, and every city has its underbelly. If you're ever investigating a crime, 9 times out of 10, you'll find a lead here. So any investigative journalist worth their salt makes sure to have a few contacts in the Fleuve Cendre. Who are my contacts? That's top secret, I'm afraid. Luckily, though, I'm on good terms with Navia, so I have an easier time here than some people.
By the way, Navia's story is also really good. Just saying. I think the only person that I felt was mid was the chick with the pink hair. And like, I literally cannot remember her name for some reason.
It pays to be friends with the Spina di Rosula. As you'd expect in the nation of Hydro, there's a whole world of wonder under the water. Oh, it's so...
The ocean and stuff, like, underwater, like, the gameplay and stuff was actually one of the nicest features that came to Fontaine. The only thing is, I get lost so easily because of how vast it is. Because, like, on land, it's, like, more of a horizontal thing, so you kind of know where you can go, right? But here, it's, like, you can move in all the directions. So it just becomes even more choices to make. and that's where I just get lost because I'm not used to that.
Beautiful, and it always reminds me how lucky I am to have a
Tornado
vision.
fishies.
The only way to go diving without one is to wear one of those big clunky
Look at all that sushi.
suits. Oh, unless you're you, of course. But you're the exception that proves the rule.
Paimon
The
too.
Diluvian period buried a lot of our ancient history and architecture beneath the waves. So there's a lot of public interest in deep-sea exploration. A lot of journalists take advantage of that, but so do a lot of scam artists. I don't know what it is about this place. Every time I come down here, it always evokes a strange sense of bittersweet wonder and hope. Welcome to the Elton Trench, graveyard of ships. People always say it's haunted because of all the boats that have sunk here in the past. A few hundred years ago, this is where the White Armada of Fontaine's navy fought a very costly battle with the giant beast Alinas. But they prevailed, and finally the beast that had caused so much disaster in Fontaine was slain.
Was this the beast that was also the one that was in the other dimension, or is these like two different beasts? Please let me know, because I never did clarify myself on that.
Its head is right here, and its body became
The
the
dimension
Alinas
whale.
Mountains. Wait, what? A ghost ship? Here? Oh, wow. What did it look like? You gotta tell me everything.
Actually, you know what? Second thought, they're probably two different things, so no need to answer that.
Okay? Uh-oh. Looks like we've drifted into Liffey region. Oh, careful. Don't get caught in the searchlights. Oh, too late.
I don't remember doing this part, to be honest. That's weird.
Sorry. Hello there, false alarm. We're not criminals serving time here. Just ended up here by mistake. This is my press card from the Steambird. Oh, what a bummer. Come on, let's take a look around while she's verifying our identities. Bit of a gloomy atmosphere, huh? Is it because we're so far underwater?
I could have sworn that's not how we became prisoners into this area. Like, we kind of just, like, asked to be prisoners, wasn't it? It wasn't, like, from the outside like that.
Well, while I'm here, I may as well see what I can dig up on the Duke who runs this place. Any idea who I should talk to in the Fortress
He's like
of
the
Narragansett?
underdog character. This guy's like underdog. He's like really cool, but I don't hear much about him though. He's definitely the underdog.
We made it ashore. Am I glad to be back on dry land? I never want to be mistaken for a fugitive again. To the northeast of the court of Fontaine, at the north edge of Araneus Forest, is the famous Fontaine Research Institute. Well, what's left of it at least. The decision to build it here was made by the founder, Alain Guillotin.
I totally just realized, why is she the one that's talking? Is it because it's Fontaine? But I feel like Paimon's the tour guide. Why not Paimon?
He built a park next to it in memory of his sister, Marianne, but
Paimon's on break.
not much left of that now either. That explosion I mentioned, it was the result of an Archeum experiment gone wrong, run by former senior technician Ed.
I didn't like this puzzle. It's like, you come here back pretty often, right? There's like the World Quest version of the puzzle and like I think a story version of the puzzle and then like a side quest as well. The one I didn't like was the World Quest one, where like it starts blocking off inside of it and then it's like invisible walls to get through. I didn't like that.
Edwin Eastinghouse. He
I would always fall
devastated
off.
The area,
It's a
but it
skill
created
issue, to
some
be
pretty
honest.
Mind-boggling sights here too. Oh, it has to be seen to be believed, so it's still worth a trip. Just don't get too close, okay? The last thing we want is any more accidents. The Fontaine Research Institute is responsible for many inventions that have dramatically changed our lives, such as Clockwork Mecca and Fanta. So our readers are always keen to keep up on the latest
Fanta. We have Fanta. Do you think it's a pun? Do you think they're related? Because I do.
developments. Ever since the explosion, the Steambird has been sending crews here to try to get to the bottom of what happened. But the researchers, they seem pretty wary of us journalists. So, if you ever find anything out, make sure I'm the first to know.
Which is funny because one of the quests actually involves like a journalist.
To the south of the Institute lies Araneus Island, a sacred place in Fontaine. Legend has it that all water veins converge there. The most famous attraction on the island is the Opera Epiclese, where criminal trials are held. We as a nation are strong believers in justice. And
We,
we sure do
as
love
a
our
nation,
trials. No
under
trip to
God.
Fontaine is complete until you've seen a trial at the Opera Epiclese. That big fountain in front of the Opera House is the Fountain of Lucine. We have a local custom where we throw Mora into the fountain and make a wish. And a lot of the time, it actually works.
Wasn't there like a quest where someone was like digging through the fountain for coins? Oh, good times.
In fact, there's a legend about it. Huh? Navia?
Just like in
Florent?
Mondstadt too.
What are you two doing here?
Oh, Charlotte. So this is where you disappeared to.
Her name is Charlotte. Oh my goodness. Of course I won't remember it. It's the most like non it's like the non unique name, Charlotte. I mean, I shouldn't be speaking. My name is Rem, so
Glad we ran into you. We just saw Ufrazi in the city. She says she's been looking everywhere for you.
The editor-in-chief's looking for me? Whoops! Well, I'd better run. So sorry, we'll continue the tour next time, promise.
I had to fight these guys so often, more often than any other like world boss for like all the characters I wanted. It would always be usually this one right here on the right side. I would always have to fight that one just for all the stuff I needed. It was by far very annoying. Like I didn't mind the fight in the beginning, but then it just became tedious because I thought I would be more diverse with the other other world bosses too, but I just keep coming back to this one, man.
Tour? Ah, you're giving the traveler a VIP tour of Fontaine. Well, how about I take it from here? Save you the trouble?
I can come along too. I'm off the clock right now.
Oh, really? You do that for me? Oh, thanks a million, you guys. Well, see you around.
I mean, you could thank a million
Charlotte's
by
always
giving me a
so
million.
full of energy.
Yes.
I don't know what Ufrazi needed her for, but let's hope it's good news. Anyway, did you guys come down here from the north? In that case, let's head over to Araneus Forest next. There's something almost dreamy.
This blocked out my memory until I saw this just now. One of the puzzles here, oh my goodness, I was stuck on it for like 2 hours because I thought it was like so finicky, where like you pop the bubble and then it does the wave and it hits them, and you kind of have to have them hit the resonator at the right time. And I would always be able to like, I feel like hit it, but there was one puzzle of it where it was like on two sides, two bubbles plus one that's like further away. I managed to hit all three of them at the exact same time, and it wasn't working. So I just thought that I was messing up on the accuracy of it. But turns out you were actually supposed to put those two bubbles together and put it in the middle to make one big explosion. I thought that was so dumb because I was able to do it otherwise. Ugh.
Like about this place. Everything about it, from the plants to the scenery, is so different from anywhere else. Like the giant orb of water spouting up from the center.
Don't
of
talk
this
about
lake,
orb of waters
with
around me.
force winds that push you away from it. Or this lake with the legendary weeping willow that's the color of fresh water. Huh. Although it's looking a bit wilted right now.
You look a bit wilted.
Yeah. And there are lots of musical mechanisms in this forest, too. So much fun to play around with. I wonder who made them.
Well, given that
Yeah, tell me who made them. Let me know, because I'm gonna go after them.
musical, the first thing that springs to mind is obviously the ancient kingdom of Remuria.
Obviously.
I'm gonna hit them with my animal wind blast.
Maybe for you, Clorand. You clearly know your history. The place I know best in Araneus
Also known as
Forest
crop
has
dust.
got to be the Rusty Road. This is Pito's territory, and just like the Fleur of Cendra, it's a hot spot for intel. Of course, to the unwitting bar patron, it's just an ordinary tavern. Oh, and there's a lot of history in this old shipwreck. They say it was one of the White Armada's armored battleships. I don't know much about Morte region, except that there's not a lot of people here. That ominous tower in the fog certainly doesn't look very inviting.
I don't remember doing this.
Oh, there's an introduction here. It's called the Tower of Ipsissimus, and it was built by an organization called the Narcissenkreuz Ordo. Yikes. I'm completely out of my
Tower
depth
of
here.
Nazarick.
The Narcissenkreuz Ordo was an extremist group, declared a criminal organization by the courts of justice. The tower has been sealed off for centuries, so it's quite normal that you haven't heard of them before.
Well, sounds like the less I know, the better.
Wait, it's starting to look familiar.
Oh, there's another huge area of ruins down here. But my history's a bit rusty, so,
Nope, no idea.
I got nothing. Sorry.
Probably
It kind of just looks like another place I've been to that was underwater. There was another temple that kind of looked similar to this, but it had to do with paintings instead.
relic of the Narcissenkreuz Ordo.
Let's head over to Bellu region, my home turf. We have a mountain called Mont Autumnki, and to its west is the village of Poisson, where the Spina di Rosula started. It might look like a makeshift underground settlement now,
Because it is.
but long ago, before the water level rose, it used to be a bustling harbor. By the way, you know Poisson seafood soup? It's really popular all over Fontaine, and it was created right here by the local fisher folk. It's a simple recipe, but oh boy, it's delicious.
Sounds like your history isn't so rusty after all.
Only if it's about Poisson.
Nothing wrong
Navia's
with
story
that.
was so good.
Knowing your own history is a great starting point.
Well said. Oh,
I actually never noticed this, the jellyfish stuff. I would always run by, and I never noticed it. I'm just like, get out of my way, and then just keep going.
Something else worth mentioning. The Siege of Poisson. A major moment in our history from several hundred years ago. Back then, the court of Fontaine was carrying out a purge of the Fleuve Cendre, and a man named Eduardo Baker bravely organized a resistance group. They ended up fleeing to Poisson and fought a final battle
Oh, cute,
here.
they're all walking together.
Eventually, the authorities broke through their defenses
Why
and
can't that
arrested
be
him.
me? It
Even
should have
though it
been
didn't
me.
end well, the people of Poisson will never forget his deeds. To the west of Bello region is Beryl region, a large mountainous area. It's said that the entire Alinas mountain range is actually the remains of the giant beast, Alinas, from centuries ago. This is the home of all Melazines. They were born inside Alinas's body. I forget exactly how that worked.
That's interesting. Isn't that why they were called, like, demon spawn or something in the beginning? Like the spawns of that enemy?
It was 400 or so years ago. The Narcissenkreuz Ordo and the Marechaussee Phantom fought a great battle within the body of Alinas. And there was an enormous explosion.
What is it with Fontaine and enormous explosions?
The Marechaussee Phantom
They
brought
just
many
like
machines
big
to the battle,
explosions. What do you mean?
and the explosion sent mechanical parts flying into Alinas's flesh. It was from that collision that the Melusines were born. So at first, a lot of people saw them as unnatural abominations.
Right, that's what I was talking about right there.
Luckily, the Eudex overrode the people's objections and accepted them into Fontaine society.
I don't know if it was the Eudex, but more like Sir Nubilite.
I shudder to think what would have happened to them otherwise.
Most Melazines live in Maracy Village, which is deep underwater beneath the Beryl Mountains. This would be a difficult dive without a vision, huh? It's very warm down here, and the colors are something else. Once you're inside, it really does feel like you're in the body of a legendary beast. It's so surreal. I remember the Steambird published a list of 100 heroic challenges to try this year, and one of them was trying Maracy Village cuisine. Let's just say that Melazines have slightly different sensibilities from us humans.
Understatement of the century.
Yeah, very much an
Oh.
understatement.
They have a conch harp here.
Something wrong?
It's nothing. Probably dates back to the days of Remuria, that's all.
Hey, didn't the Marechaussee hunters first appear after the fall of What was it again?
Remuria.
Right, Remuria. They
This is the one
hunted
I was
down
talking about.
monsters or something?
Correct.
This
Thousands
one
of
was
years
pretty
ago,
interesting.
After Remuria was finally destroyed and
Not because it has to be like close to my name or anything, but this is the one with the paintings and stuff I was mentioning.
sank into the ocean depths, their golems remained in the human world and continued to wreak havoc. The Marechaussee Hunters were founded for the sole purpose of fighting those golems. Today, the kingdom of Remuria lies in ruins beneath the remote village of Petrichor, outside of Fontaine's waters. Maybe you'll have the chance to explore it one day, and get a glimpse into the history of an ancient dynasty. I'm sure you'd be amazed by its beauty and splendor. The music of Remuria once echoed throughout the high seas. Then again, it's also possible that there's nothing left down there at all. Petrichor is a peaceful and idyllic place.
I actually thought this was like one of the most beautiful things. Also, the gameplay you do here, like right here, like on the strings, was really intense, like emotional wise.
These days, the tumultuous waves of the past have long subsided.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful
a heck of a lot has
quests.
changed over the millennia.
You're starting to look a little tired, traveler.
Oh,
must
you
be
think?
exhausted
This
after
was really
visiting
long.
So many places. Let's get back to Poisson. I'm ready for a big meal and a good long rest. So, what do you think, traveler? Fontaine's a pretty fascinating place, isn't it? And there's so much more to explore.
I can't stop thinking about it. Primordial seawater. It's a good thing that didn't happen to Navia, huh? Woo!
We've shown you around the places that we know, but that's just scratching the surface. Guess you'll just have to discover the rest by yourself.
She's like one of the best
On that note,
waifus.
you'd better get some rest so you can keep exploring tomorrow.
Keep on keeping on. But we're gonna be done with Fontaine and moving on to Natlan. I'm trying to think of a funny name for it, but I can't think of anything. Non-land. We're gonna call it non-land. No, no one's gonna get it. Pretty sunset. That's basically it. Yeah, it'll just say Genshin Impact at the end. We're good. We're good to go. We're good to say goodbye. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This actually gives you quite the nostalgia trip, doesn't it? Like for those that have finished Fontaine. And it's not too much of a spoiler, to be honest, for those that still haven't gotten there. Because they kind of leave out a lot of stuff, to be honest. They just kind of tell you more of like the world itself, but like not the story of it, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to let me know what your favorite part was. And I'll see you guys later with more Genshin Impact. Peace.